All right, Xfinity Homestead. So don't look at the times too closely here because this is on the open track, um, 81 track temp. So this might not be the same as fixed. It never really is exactly. But this is just to get an idea. I'm going 16 to 1 plus 2, 60%. Don't feel like I need to go that much lower in the brake bias or else my car starts forward wheel sliding under braking, and that's not what you want at all. And other than that, that's just what I personally use, pretty standard for the mile and a halves. So 1 and 2 for hot lap is going to be on the top, but then 3 and 4, I found that the top and the bottom are very similar times. I think the bottom's a little more consistent, but the top has a little bit higher ceiling. So I'm going to run both. First lap, I'll try to run top to top. If the tires are too cold to make that work, then I will run top second lap as well. And then after I get a good lap on top, I'll run the bottom of 3 and 4. So not overdriving entry is going to be the key here. It's going to be very easy to, especially if you're coming from the trucks or another car where you're used to being able to full send the top here. You can't really full send the top. You have to get turning before the entrance of the corner. And then tires are a little bit cold, but I'm keeping the car rotating, going full throttle when the car settles. So that's pretty good. I don't mind that, so we'll just use that as a good example. We'll try to get the top of 3 and 4 good here too. Early entry, get the car rotating. See if I can get the car rotating early enough, then I can get more aggressive on the throttle. That's pretty good. That might beat what I can do on the bottom at that point. But we'll try. So again, early entry, underdriving it a little bit maybe there, but you can get on the throttle earlier, so it's like it doesn't even really hurt you. Slightly better 1 and 2 there just because I was able to get on that throttle earlier. Now let's go to the bottom. Again, don't overdrive the bottom here. Then wait on the bottom and then only come up when you can kind of see the exit there. You see how it just converges to being very close? So that is exactly why I don't know if the top or bottom is better, because that was a very marginal difference. So we'll go over both of them there a little bit. In terms of top and 1 and 2, we'll go on the second lap as the example. Notice how I'm not really caring that if I'm right by the wall or not. As long as you're kind of on this top groove here, you're getting the same banking, so it's fine. You can even carry probably a little more speed than I did and have it slide up a little bit, do what we call a Darlington 1 and 2 line, or at least I call it that, where the car slides up and then you throttle off the wall. That's a little sketchy at Homestead, so I choose to just not be as aggressive in the throttle, and instead of sliding up the track, I just kind of hold that 80% throttle. The real key here is that it's going to get loose on you when you're doing this, but notice how even when I'm making my corrections and all of that, I am just making sure that the car can never straighten out of me. The moment the car straightens out, you're just in the wall no matter what. So you gotta keep the car rotating. Notice how like my wheel is doing all this stuff, but like the nose of my car is still always pointed kind of down the hill a little bit. So a little bit of braking before we enter the corner, and then pretty instantly back to half throttle, and then I'm just pushing the throttle and then just keeping my nose. I'm not even really worried about what my hands are doing. I'm just worried about my nose being pointed down the track slightly, and then my hands are just kind of achieving that on their own. So I'm not really thinking about what my hands are doing. I'm just thinking about where I want my nose pointed, and then my hands kind of adjust to that based on reactions. So like right here, for instance, when I corrected back to the right, it was because I was pointed a little bit too far down, but I instantly flick back to the left when I see that I might start straightening out my car at that point. All right. And then this is the bottom of 3 and 4, excuse me. Bottom of 3 and 4. You can probably push the entrance a little more than this, but the goal is you want to drive down to the bottom and not slide up off the white line instantly. So this probably has another tenth or so in it, to be honest with you, because I think you can drive a little harder into here, use a little bit more brake. But this was a pretty consistent, easy entrance. Excuse me. Just driving basically straight from the wall. Notice how my turn down happens before the banking yet again, and I'm just angled nose straight at the white line. and then I trail brake down to the white line and just hold my throttle on that white line and then straighten out my wheel and drive straight back up off the track. Very simplified, but it's fast. You make it too complicated for yourself when you turn in later than this. So the later that you turn in, like a lot of people will turn in around where this white line is right here. See this white line right here? A lot of people will start their turn in right there, and that's too late. Notice how far I'm already turned down by that point. And then if we go top of 1 and 2, or sorry, top of 3 and 4, it's kind of the same idea. I'm turning in just a little bit later, but you can see that I'm not really pushing entry because it gets super loose center of the corner. You can't really push top of 3 and 4 at Homestead because of like bumps or track surface or whatever, but kind of the same principles of 1 and 2. A little trail brake on the straight, get the car rotated in, and then immediately back to half throttle, and then I just hold that until the car is ready to be pushed to full throttle. So again, this car will be a little bit tighter. So we just wait on that half throttle until the car gets that angle. And the moment it gets the angle, that's when I can go aggressive on the throttle. It's not quite like in 1 and 2 where the car gets the angle instantly. It'll wait to get the angle because of whatever the grip is up here. There's less grip in 3 and 4. So it takes longer to get the angle, so you have to wait. 1 and 2, you don't have to wait to get the angle. In terms of long run, though, I'm only going to do a few laps of this. Long run, I have a tried and tested line that works in every car, and most people agree with it. That are the people that I kind of learned this from. Obviously, they agree with it, but point being, basically the line is we get to the bottom really early, and we just basically roll the white line all the way through the corner, and we don't really even ever leave the bottom. So early on, brake, get the car rolling on the white line. Notice how this is quite a bit slower than pushing the outside on 1 and 2 at least. 3 and 4 should be pretty even. Well, I underdrove that quite a bit, but in terms of how it corners, it's very, very similar. So this isn't a line you want to do off a restart. You want to wait until the cars are strung out a little bit. I'll try to push a little bit more into here. That's just as fine. And I maybe slid up a little bit early there, but it's not that far off at that point. This line that I'm running right now will equalize with people pushing in like 10 laps maybe. Notice how I don't even like care to come back up to the wall if I get everything correct. To the bottom, we roll the bottom, get on the gas early, but we just roll the bottom, don't let the car slide up. And then we go full throttle, but the car doesn't even want to slide up at that point. If you're up at the wall on exit, you gas too early, even if it feels like you did a good job. Some people will drive this same line on the second line, but the maximum tire saving is going to be down here. And you can see like we're half a second off of a qualifying lap, but in terms of like what are people going to be pushing for race pace, you're probably going to be like 2/10 off. So that equalizes really quickly, and you don't want to mess up like I did there. That was pretty bad. It's a little easier to get in 3 and 4 than 1 and 2. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 is the more natural bottom line, and then 1 and 2 is the more natural top line. So maybe if you want to, you can mix it up as well. Run top 1 and 2, bottom 3 and 4. But you can see how I can get aggressive on the throttle, and the car just doesn't even want to slide up. It's a little easier to do that in 3 and 4. And that is like perfect tire wear. If you can get it like that, you're not going to wear anything more than anything else, and you're not going to four-wheel slide the car into any tire heat doing that. So if you do that over a long run, and if the race does go long run, like that wins out 10 times out of 10. You can see like perfectly even tire wear, no heat in the tires. Beautiful. All right, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.